Good morning, children. Today we'll be discussing about when a stone is thrown up and coming down, what could be its velocity time graph. So I am going to plot the motion in a velocity time graph. So from the ground it is being projected. Let us assume that the velocity with which it is projected is taken as 4 meter per second. So at time is equal to 0, it was 4 meter per second when I am throwing it. So at every 1 second, let us assume that the velocity is decreasing. So let t is equal to 1, what will happen? So t equal to 2, t equal to 3, t equal to 4 till t equal to 8th second. For simplifying the problem, I am giving myself a data. Okay. So I'm just a data is being given to make it the problem simplified. So for clarification purpose. So the initial velocity with which it is projected was 4 meters per second. So I have marked it. So at t is equal to 1, it was 3 meters per second. At t equal to 2, it is 2 meters per second. At t equal to 3, it is 1 meter per second. At t equal to 4, it has reached the maximum height. That means the velocity becomes 0. So at the maximum velocity, the velocity is 0. That is the maximum height, the velocity becomes 0. Because that is the part where the velocity which you have supplied to a stone has reduced. So when you are throwing up, you will see that you are throwing it against acceleration due to gravity because it is directed downwards. But when the stone is coming down, it is coming towards gravity. Therefore, you will see that there will be an increase in velocity when the stone is coming down. It could be also represented as free fall. So now I am going to plot the graph as per the points here. At t equal to 0, we are going to plot it. So when I am throwing it in the upward direction at t equal to 0, the velocity I have taken it as 4 meter per second. So I plot the point, especially at 4. At t is equal to 1 second, you will see that the velocity is 3. So I am plotting it. At t is equal to 2 seconds, the velocity is 2. At t equal to 1 second, the velocity is 1. And at t is equal to 4 seconds, the velocity becomes 0 because that is the point where the stone has reached the maximum height. Afterwards, your velocity has no impact over it. So you will see that the stone is coming down by free fall. So let us assume that the velocity slowly increases. So v is equal to 1 at t equal to 5, 2 at 3 at t is equal to 6, 3 at t equal to 7 and 4 at t is equal to 8, just for clarification. So you will see that the velocity will be slowly increasing as the stone comes down. So this is how you will be getting a graph. So the downward movement of the graph represents the upward movement of the stone, whereas the upward movement of the graph represents the stone coming downwards. So be careful when you are plotting this particular graph. Just you inculcate, if you are having any doubts when you are using this, when they are asking this particular problem, just plot it by means of a small graph so that you will be getting clarified instead of directly attending the question. So by this you can minimize your error. So this is how a velocity time graph is obtained when a stone is thrown up and it is allowed to fall down freely. So this is how the graph is obtained. So the first part of the graph represents the upward movement of the stone, whereas the second part of the graph represents the downward movement of the stone, and the point where it meets the time axis, that is called as the maximum height reached, so that there the velocity becomes 0. So now I think you get it clarified. Thank you.